Go ahead and click record. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining our webinar this morning or afternoon or evening, wherever you're located around the world. We're going to go ahead and conduct our webinar session for today, which is increase productivity and simplify support with Desk.com automations. So quick introduction of myself. My name is Andy. I work as a solution consultant within our professional services team here at Desk. I will be leading the webinar today. Just a quick housekeeping items. I'll be providing a demo of Desk today. So I'm going to be switching my screen back and forth between the slides and the demo site that I prepared for our webinar today. Q&A will be at the very end, but you can post your questions in the GoToMeeting question sections, and I'll be able to answer them at the end of our call. Recording will be available after our call today as well. So in case if you want to reference back the session from today, you can go ahead and take a look into the recording. Here's our agenda. We're going to talk about what Desk is. For those individuals that don't know what Desk is, what type of tool it is, I'm going to give you an introduction of Desk. We're going to talk about customers using Desk, highlight customer success stories. Then I'm going to jump into demo right away, and then we're going to open up for Q&As. So let's get started. So what is Desk? Desk is the ultimate case management tool for fast-growing businesses with features like multi-channel support, being able to work on email, phone, social media cases such as Facebook, Twitter, chat, communities. All of those channels are supported within Desk, allowing your support team to provide support in multiple channels. Along with the multi-channel support, we have the mobile application, which is our iOS and Android application, where you can respond out to cases on the go. With productivity tools like macros and the automations that I'm going to show you on top of other integrations such as Salesforce, Jira, Slack, you can integrate third-party applications into Desk. We have built-in productivity tools, which I'm going to highlight during our demo today. But on top of that, we give you a support center out of the box, which is a self-service portal and knowledge base. So if you always wanted to build a support center for your customers, Desk comes with the support center on top of the case management tool. I'm going to show you a self-service portal that I've created for my demo site and kind of give you an idea on how customers can interact with the support center, submit email cases, etc. And lastly, and probably the most important feature, is Business Insight, which is the reporting tool. Gives your administrators the ability to run metrics on support cases that are coming through your site. So let's talk about a couple customers. I'm going to highlight 3 amazing customers that are using Desk. First is Nextdoor. Nextdoor provides private social networking experience for your neighborhoods. And what's exciting about Nextdoor is they have a total of 24 agents that are currently using Desk to manage support cases from 20,000 active communities. So if you kind of visualize this experience with 24 agents, they're going to be receiving a lot of cases. But notice how they're able to reduce down the case handle time by 50%. And by using the power of Desk automations, which I'm going to show you in our demo, Nextdoor and other companies are really using automations to ensure that the cases are properly handled, cases are routed to the correct team, and ensuring that the cases are categorized appropriately as well. And on top of the case handle time reduction, Nextdoor team was also able to see a decrease in the cases that are being logged to their team through the power of the support center that they've built for their customers. We have Udemy. Udemy provides online learning market space that offers over 22,000 courses in multiple languages. What's exciting about Udemy is their team provides support over 5 million students and 12,000 instruction globally. and their handle time is less than 4 hours. So if you visualize this experience again, there are millions of students around the world. If at least one student submit a case, that is a lot of cases. But with the power of desk automations and other productivity tools, the Udemy support team is able to respond out to their end users, students, and instructors in less than 4 hours of response time, which is pretty amazing. Last customer that I'm going to highlight is ParkWiz. They provide mobile applications for drivers that need to find parking. They have 4 support agents that are using Desk. Their response time is less than 24 hours. But notice the number of cases that they receive a week. It's over 1,000 cases that 4 support team members are handling. So we're seeing a trend here. We have these amazing customers, but they're receiving a lot of cases, but their support team is not a team of 50 support agents or 100 support agents. These are team members that have less than 20 or 30 support team members, but able to work on abundance of cases. And that's through the power of the desk automations and productivity tools that they've built to ensure that the agents are able to respond out to customers efficiently, provide quality support, and most importantly, help their agents speed up their workflow as well. So here's a demo flow. I'm going to play the role of a customer and I'm going to switch to a role of a desk agent. A customer has a question, and the customer will first take a look into the support center that comes out of the box with Desk. It is free, no extra charge whatsoever. Customers will go into the support center, see, can I look into the question or the answer that I have? And they weren't able to find the answer. So what they're going to do is they're going to use the email form or the contact us form that also comes with Desk, which will generate an email case into the Desk system. Now, when it enters into the Desk system, we have created a couple automations. One automation that I'm going to highlight is the auto acknowledgement. We are sending out an auto acknowledgement back to the customer, acknowledging that, hey, customer A, we received your response. We'll respond out to you in less than 24 hours or as soon as possible. Now, when a case is created, we're also going to ensure that the case gets routed to the appropriate agent, so that if an agent needs to work on a refund case, we want to make sure that refund case is categorized appropriately using labels, custom fields. We're going to route it to the appropriate team, and the team will respond out to the customer. And this demo flow, the goal and the target response time for the agent is I'm going to try to respond on within less than 30 seconds. Now, if you visualize this, a customer sends in an email case, it gets entered into the Desk system. Desk agent will respond up to the case, and that whole experience, I'll try to do it in less than 30 seconds, showing you the ultimate power of what Desk can do for your business if you create the right automations and productivity tools like macros to help your agents. Okay, let's go ahead and go into the demo time. We're going to go through a case scenario, and after that, we're going to switch gears a little bit, and then I'm going to show you the admin setup. Okay, so this is my test site, and this is my support center here. As a customer, I can go into this Desk site here. Mine is zzz-ruleswebinar.desk.com to take a look into the article, and I couldn't find it. So on the right here, there's this contact us section where I can see that I can post a public question, email the support team, or also initiate a live chat. But in this case, I'm going to go ahead and send an email so that I am going to submit an email case to the support team. Let's say the customer is John Bagel, and John's email is nycbageltest@gmail.com. We also have categories. These are custom fields, allowing customers to ask or fill out additional inquiries so that they're selecting the right case category that they're inquiring about. In this case, let's say billing, and selecting the issue type. Notice how the category and the issue types are dependent with another. When I say dependent, depending on the category that I select, the relevant issue types will appear. That's our dependent dropdown feature, where when I select the billing category, I can see all the issue types related to billing. If I go ahead and select technical support, the values of the issue types will change. So if you're thinking about exposing questions to capture additional information for your contact form, you can use the custom field option here. Okay, so let's say that I am John Bagel. I'm going to send the refund case. I need to make a refund now. Okay, I'm going to send him a message. And notice how we also give you this pop-up. It's called pre-create, where depending on keywords added in the subject and or the body of the email, we can suggest help articles to ensure that, hey, before you submit a question, is this the article that you're looking for? If not, customers can click send your email. Now the email has been submitted so that it's going to generate an email case in Desk. Let's go ahead and switch gears a little bit and then go into the agent console, which is the universal inbox here. When I click on the universal inbox, we're going to show you Desk. This is a very simple experience for your Desk agents. On the left here, I have all my case folders that have been created for my team. When I click on sales operations here, I can see the same case that John Bagel created. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open it. I can see that it was routed to the appropriate sales operations team. The label refund was automatically appended. But notice how upon case creation, there is this note. It's an internal note and comment and or instructions that's telling the agent what they need to do. So for any refund case, I need to use the refund process macro. So I'm going to go ahead and look for the macro that I'm looking for, click on refund process. And I'm not going to close the tab, but I'm going to click and send update. So let's kind of talk about this whole experience. An email case was created related to refund. The system automatically noticed that it was related to refund. So what we did is we ensure that those cases related to refund are automatically assigned to the sales operations team, not the technical support supervisor or the support groups, but the sales operations team. But upon case creation, we have also helped the agents the steps that they need to take for a refund case. And using automations, we have added internal instructions indicating the steps that they need to take. So your support team, your help desk team is constantly growing. There's going to be new members coming in to ensure that they are using the right tools, ensuring that they are responding out to cases, not only in a timely fashion, but in the right way. You can use automations to create internal instructions on how the case should be handled. So in this case, I've created one automation to tell the system to assign it to the sales operations group, add an internal note so that the agent needs to use the right macro for responding out to cases. And we can also set the appropriate category and the custom field information. So the note says, hello sales ops team, for refund cases, please use the refund process macro to reply back to the customer. When the customer responds back after they have filled out the refund form, the case will reopen back into your queue within my cases folder. So as a desk agent, when this case got created, got assigned to the sales ops team, and when I opened the case, I had that aha moment. Okay, I know what to do. I know the exact steps that I need to create. So I went to the reply section here, and macros are pre-built templates that you can create for your team. If there are any canned responses that you would want to create, you can create them as macros to ensure that your agents are not manually typing in the response. So right away, I looked into the macro section and say, okay, this rule got triggered. I have this internal instructions and instructing me that I should use the refund process macro. So when I used the refund process macro, it generated this automatic sort of auto response and we sent out the email. But notice how using macros, we can also add in attachments so that when I use that macro, that refund form PDF attachment got attached so that the agents don't have to manually type in the response attach the PDF file, and click update instant send. You noticed how with just one click of one macro, it added the response, it added the attachment, the appropriate category issue types were filled out, and labels as well. Labels and custom fields help you categorize your cases. So you can think of labels as ultimately as tags, and custom fields are those detailed information that you're going to capture on the case. So this is a pretty neat automation that I tell all customers to create. If there are specific instructions or specific information that you want to automatically fill out, automatically populate or remove information, for an example, you can use desk automation to create the process. Now all these steps equals to one desk automations. I'm going to show you how I've created that. Okay. That's just the inbound experience. Notice how I responded out pretty quickly. I knew the case that I was working on. I knew the instructions, so I responded out. Appropriate categories were filled. Now I can resolve the case and work on the next one. There's a couple other automations that I'm going to talk about. And before I even switch gears to the admin sections on how you can create these types of automations, I want to show you a couple best practice setup that I encourage all customers to enable. So one thing is we have customer satisfaction feature in Desk where upon case resolution, we can ask the customer what their customer experience was like. So on the top right corner, you'll see that there is the last customer satisfaction score of green. So in this case, customer John, the same customer, sent in an email and said that, hey, I can't log into my account. Can you help me? As an agent, I replied out right away, help John in a matter of within 2 minutes. And John gave me a great feedback. He said, wow, super helpful, super fast. What that did is it triggered the automation indicating that, hey, AK, which is me, you receive an awesome feedback from the customer. And the system automatically tagged it as a positive feedback so that you know that the case that you worked on, the case that you resolved for the customer received a positive feedback. And this is very important because as an administrator, you can run a reporting on the Cset metrics for your team, or you can really drill it down so that you can run a metrics around customer satisfaction per agent to see how they're doing, what their agent performance is. Okay. But let's switch gears a bit. This is a positive feedback. What would you do if you receive sort of a poor rating? In this case, we have another customer, Sarah Cupcake. Sarah wanted to talk to an account manager right away, but the account manager doesn't use Desk. So what the agent AK did is I responded out to Sarah saying, hey, I will pass this on to your account manager and they'll get back to you shortly. But we really don't have an estimated time of ETA of when the account manager will reach out. So what Sarah did is she didn't really like the response that she got from the support agent. So she gave AK a fair rating. Notice how when John and Sarah, the customers, typed in or gave that feedback, they also typed in a written feedback. Written feedbacks are basically a way for customers to really talk about the feedback that they've provided. And Sarah, in this case, wrote a written feedback saying, hey, I kind of wish I had gotten an ETA because it's an urgent request. So when I received a negative or a poor feedback, the system detected that. And what the system did is it appended the label negative feedback. It also added an internal note telling the team that, team, please follow up with this customer on this case. Let's try to change the experience around and wow the customer. So if you enable the customer satisfaction feature, you have the ability to create automations around the customer feedback that you're getting. So if you're receiving a poor rating, you have the opportunity to change that experience around. And now the system alerted me that we received a negative or poor rating. Now I have a second chance to change the experience around. I can manually type in the response, but I can also use a macro. I can check to see if there's a macro, and there is a macro called turn the frown upside down. So when I click on turn the frown upside down, it populated the appropriate response that I should be communicating back to the customer based on a poor rating feedback that I received. So this is a response that I can just delete, because notice how it's saying that type in your explanation here and follow up action, but these automated responses that got populated should be sort of like a fixed message that you should be using when responding out to these types of cases, saying while we strive to provide the best experience as possible for our customer, we understand that not everything may be perfect, so we want to thank you for your feedback. And what the agent can do is, thanks so much for feedback. I can say, I got in touch with Sunny, your account manager, and he will give you a call soon. And I can go ahead and click send an update. Okay. Now I've responded out to the customer, and when I respond out, Sarah is going to receive this response, and Sarah, the customer, have the ability to change the rating so that instead of being poor or fair, I can switch the rating back to yay or good, which is the same feedback that John has provided. So using automations, we can detect the customer ratings that you are receiving, and if there are any follow-up action items needed, we can detect that through the automations that we're creating based on the customer rating. And by utilizing macros, we're ensuring that the right messaging should be used based on this specific scenario. Okay. That's just a quick agent experience. One thing I wanted to really highlight during our webinar today was ensuring that the cases are categorized properly depending on the content that the customer is writing in about. Second is ensuring that depending on the content, not only we're routing it to the appropriate team, we're categorizing these correctly to ensure that there are no double work needed for the agent. All the agent needs to basically focus on is responding out to the customer. But when they're responding out, we provided internal instructions on how they should be handling the case. So using the automation, you can add in internal instructions, instructing the agents on the types of macro or the types of responses that they should be communicating back to the customer. So you're providing guidance to your agent so that when the case is created, they're not trying to figure out how they should be tackling the case or responding out to the customer. We can add in internal comments, internal descriptions. You can automatically set the fields for your agents using automations. Okay. And notice how these case folders, when the case was created, it routed appropriately to the right folder. So if I submit a second case, which I'm not going to, but I'm going to switch gears to the admin section. If it's related to technical support, we're automatically going to filter it to technical support. If the case is related to product, we're going to ensure that the cases are appropriately showing within the product folder so that it's not just a single folder with all these cases in the queue. You can separate these queues into different folders and use automation to ensure that they are placed properly in the right folder depending on the case category. Okay. Now that you have a better view of the customer and the agent experience, let's talk about the administrative part. What did I do to create this type of experience to ensure that the cases are responded in matter of a minute or within seconds? And how, as an administrator, you can help your team today to ensure that those repetitive tasks could be converted as either automations in Desk or macros. Okay. To better explain this, I'm going to switch gears to the admin panel. And going back into the screen here, I'm going to click on the admin panel section here. This is where, as a desk administrator, you can configure your desk site, add in automations, add in macros. And in order to create your automations, you're going to go into the Cases tab. We're going to click on Rules. We use rules to automate tasks in Desk. So if you work with our support team, work with your sales representative at Salesforce or Desk, when you talk about automations, we're going to say rules in the Desk language. But notice how when you click on the rule section, we give you all these different options here. These are rule types. Desk is pretty unique because you won't be able to see these options anywhere else in different case management tools. We have already provided the rule types for you so that if you need to create an automation for any inbound inquiries, you can create that rule as an inbound interaction. So that as an administrator, we're helping you as well. Depending on the automation that you're creating for a scenario, you can select the right rule types that you're trying to create. For our webinar today, I'm going to highlight 4 rule types, 4 best practices on different automations that you can create for your team. The rule types I'm going to highlight are inbound interaction, case updated rule, time rule, CSAT submitted. Let's start with inbound interaction. Inbound interaction rule is an automation that gets triggered whenever a customer sends in an inquiry for the first time, whether email case, whether phone case, social media, chat. We can use inbound interaction rules to create an inbound automations for those cases. Couple rules that I recommend are, the first rule is send auto acknowledgement email. This is the auto acknowledgement that will get sent back to the customer upon case creation, where if a case is created for the first time, let's say an email case, we're going to ensure that we send out an autoresponder back to the customer, acknowledging that you guys have received the case and you will respond back to the customer. We have other inbound interaction rules such as detecting the refund case, detecting VIP customer, which I'm going to talk about a little bit. But let's start out by opening the detect refund case rule that I've created. So this automation will ensure that if a case is submitted and the category is related to refund, or if the customer is typing a keyword refund in their email within the subject and or the email body, we're going to ensure that we are adding the appropriate case note, which is the instruction. We are appropriately categorizing the case as a refund case by appending a case label. And lastly, we're ensuring that the case is always assigned to the sales operations team so that it doesn't go into technical support, but all refund inquiries should be assigned to the sales operations team. So let's kind of talk through this logic on how I created this automation. In Desk, we use conditions and rule actions. Think of conditions as if statement and rule actions as then statement. If these criteria are met, then let's trigger these 3, 4, 5 rule actions. Basically, your then statement. And in Desk, we have all condition and any condition. All condition is an and statement. Any is an or statement. So I said, whenever a new case is created, and if the subject, email subject contains refund, or if the email body contains refund, or if the issue type they have selected is regarding refund on the contact form, then the then statement is these 3 actions here. So if you have a specific process that you want to automate, depending on whether the email keyword and or the information filled out on the contact form, you can use this inbound interaction. It doesn't have to be around refund. Maybe it's around a bug issue, product issue. So if a customer is trying to submit a bug request, we can ensure that those requests are sent to your product team if they use Desk. If the customer is sending in information about a very advanced technical support question, we can send it over to the tier 2 team instead of the tier 1 support team. So think of these inbound interactions as a way to ensure that when a case is created, a response comes in from the customer. What are the top rule actions that I want to configure to help the agents? And the automation that you're thinking of is case assignment, categorizing cases appropriately, sending out a message back to the customer. So you'll use inbound interaction to perform those actions. Another inbound interaction rule that I'm going to highlight is detecting VIP customers. So if you have different tier level support based on a customer and or account level, we can detect those cases to ensure that the agents know the cases that are being submitted by your VIP clients and or your top account customers. So if I've created this custom field called VIP, which is a checkbox. So whenever you check this box, any email cases or cases that are getting submitted by that specific customer with the VIP checkbox checked will automatically append the label VIP client. And to kind of talk about this experience, I can go into the agent console here. And let's open this case again from John. So on the left here, I can see my contact information, so I know who I'm dealing with. But I can see John's contact information, but beyond that, there is this VIP checkbox when I click check. So now whenever John sends in an email, we're automatically going to flag it as a VIP case because the VIP information is checked for John's customer record. You can create the custom field in the Desk system, but if you're also utilizing Salesforce and you are already capturing that information for your contacts and accounts, we can pull that information in so that we can keep the same information that you have filled out in Salesforce, and we're pulling that data in Desk to ensure that the account contact information are synced. So if you think about it, if you're using Salesforce but you don't have a case management tool, if you use Desk, we can share those contact and account information so that it will help your Desk agents understand important information that's stored in Salesforce. But through the Salesforce integration that we have, it's going to give your Salesforce representatives the ability to see all the Desk cases that are getting entered in the Desk system, allowing your Salesforce representative to respond out to cases, interact with the cases as well. So just one tip that I wanted to add, if you're using Salesforce, you can use Desk and share information. Okay. Now that the VIP checkbox is checked for John, whenever John sends it in an email, this inbound interaction detect VIP cases will trigger and automatically flag it as a VIP client label to ensure that if a VIP labeled case should be responded a lot quicker than your general cases that you're receiving, this label will help your agents identify that the case is related or is coming from your VIP client. Moving on, I've created other automations for the team. Let's say if a case comes in and the case has not yet been assigned to any of the teams yet, we're going to assign it to the technical support. And the way how it works is in Desk, we can actually sort your automations. We can change the hierarchy of which automation will get triggered first by switching the numbers that are shown on the right here. So you're probably thinking, well, what are these numbers? And what is this 1, 2, 3, 4? Are they just a naming convention? These are actually numbers indicating of when the rule will trigger. Basically the order sequence. So when an email case or case comes in, if it meets the criteria, this rule will trigger first, this rule will trigger next, and the following rules if the criteria are met. So if we're thinking about this logically, when a new case comes in, we're going to send that auto acknowledgement back to the customer. If it's related to the refund case, this automation will trigger next and assign it to the sales operations team. But let's say that an email case comes in, it's not related to refund, so we're going to skip this rule. It's not a VIP customer, it's going to skip this rule. Then this rule will trigger next because the case has not yet been assigned to anybody, any of the team. We're going to ensure that any cases that are not yet assigned always get assigned to the technical support team or tier 1 team or the general support team. This ensures that your cases are not falling through the cracks, but it is getting assigned to a particular team, which then the technical support team can reassign cases to the appropriate team. So for an example, going back, as an agent, I can easily change the group assignment. Even though that automation got triggered to assign it to the technical support team, I can override the group assignment and change it back to the product, or change it to product, or change it back to the sales operations team and click update. Okay. This is probably one of the rules that I tell customers to create. Don't leave cases unassigned to any of your teams. find a group or a team that can filter out cases for your organizations. If the technical support should be that dedicated team, if a case is not assigned to any of your team, make sure that those are assigned to the technical support team so that they can then reassign cases to other teams if necessary. Okay. While we're on the topic of automations around case assignment, auto acknowledgement back to the customer, we can create an automation that will send internal notification emails to your team internally. And thus by using the rule action send notification email. So on top of sending an auto acknowledgement back to the customer, which is a public facing email, we can send an internal notification email to the team, notifying them that a new case has been created. So when a VIP case is created, maybe you want to receive a notification. You can create the rule action to send notification to your internal team so that they're aware of all the case submissions that are happening. In case if they're not in the Desk system, they can receive a notification email that an important case has been entered into the system. And what's exciting about our notification feature is if you have full-time agents, we can enable this feature called reply from email. And in order to locate that feature, you can go into the agent section here and then making sure that reply from email is enabled. To explain this feature, I'm going to kind of read the tooltip that we have. The feature will allow agents to reply to customers and perform basic actions by responding directly to notification email. This is a very powerful feature where whenever your agents are not logged into Desk, but they're receiving a notification email because a new case has been submitted by your VIP customer, in this case, let's say John, they don't have to log into Desk to respond out right away. By enabling this feature, your agents can reply out directly to the notification email, and that response will be sent back to the customer right away. Number one, it's very powerful because your agents, we're saving time. Your agents don't have to open up the mobile app if they're outside of work, or they don't have to log in. By responding out directly to the notification email, that response will get back sent to the customer. So a lot of times customers don't know this feature exists. So I really wanted to point this feature out where by creating the automation to send out an internal notification email to your team and enabling this feature, we can help your agents respond out to customer emails a lot quicker. They don't have to log into the Desk system. By enabling this feature, they can reply out to the notification email, then boom, it will send it to the customer right away. Okay. While we're on the same topic of notification email, internal notification email, we're going to switch to the case updated rule. Just another best practice that I want to share. Case updated rules are triggered based on any case updates that are happening, whether it's being updated by your customer, if it's updating by your agents. Two case updated rules that I tell all customers to create are these two automations: group assignment notification and agent assignment notification. So if we're going back to the scenario where we're going to catch all unassigned emails to the technical support team, but when a technical support team identifies that this email case submitted by Sarah needs to be assigned to the sales operations team, when the technical support agent reassigns the case, we need to ensure that the sales ops team are notified as well, because they may not be using Desk 24/7. They probably want to only log into Desk, for an example, if there's a case assigned to their queue. This group assignment notification email will ensure that whenever an email case, social media case, or chat case is assigned to one group to another group, we're sending out an internal notification email. So let's kind of visualize this process. A support rep receives an email, assigns it to the sales operations team. This automation will trigger and send everyone within the sales operations team an internal email saying, hey, sales ops team, new email case from Sarah, case number 456 has been created. Now, if we're connecting the dot and talking about the reply from email feature, now the sales ops team don't have to log into Desk, but they can reply directly to the notification email, which that response will be sent back to the customer. So if you're kind of busy during the day, but you want to quickly acknowledge that you're working on the issue from an agent standpoint, you can reply out to the email right away saying, "Hey, Sarah, I'm part of the sales ops team. I will look into this right away." So Sarah is not waiting for a response. She got a response right away. And she was able to get a response right away because that agent responded out to the notification email right away. Okay. We have an agent assignment notification where if an email case, social media case, or any case is reassigned from one agent to another agent, we can notify that user saying, "Hey, Juliana, for an example, I'm going to go ahead and assign a case to you. Juliana is part of my team, and she also uses Desk." So we can create a notification process on the group level or be very specific and create it on the agent assignment notification level here. Okay. We're going to switch over to time rules. So a lot of times customers don't know what this time rule is. We do get a lot of questions. Customers like, "Hey, Andy, what is this time rule? What does it do?" So the time rules run based on a time interval. So when we talk about a time interval, at times you want to detect if there are any agent cases that have been sitting in the queue for a very, very long time. We can detect those cases using time rules. So if you have a specific service level agreement with your customer saying, "Hey, customer, we'll respond out to you within 24 hours, 48 hours," we can create a time rule to ensure that if there is an upcoming deadline on a case, project, or a specific task, we can create a time rule to detect those cases. One example is we're detecting agent cases that are greater than 24 hours. So if you kind of look into the logic statement, the conditions that I've used, I basically said if a new case is created for more than 24 hours, which is hours since new is greater than 24 hours, and if the interaction count is 1, meaning if the email interaction only contains a single interaction, and if it's not yet been assigned to an agent yet for any open and new cases, we're going to append the label, that visual cue alerting the agent that this is regarding 24-hour agent case. We're also sending a notification email. Depending on the group that's assigned, if it's assigned to the technical support team, we can send an email to all the team members within technical support, alerting them that this email has been sitting in the queue for more than 24 hours. So if you think about this, we are creating a time rule to ensure that emails are responded in a timely manner. If an email falls through the crack, it's not responded within a matter of a week, it kind of hurts your team, your organization. So we can create a time rule to ensure that these cases don't fall through the crack. We can notify the administrators, we can notify the team, we can ensure that the appropriate labels, categories are filled out using these time rules as well. So you can create one for 24 hours, 48 hours. If you want your team to work on a specific case within a matter of an hour or two, you can easily change the time so that this will get triggered whenever a new case is greater than 2 hours or has been sitting in the queue for more than two hours. The last rule type that I'm going to talk about before I open up for any questions from the audience is the Cset submitted rule type. So we talked about the customer satisfaction feature that comes with the system. So if you enable that feature and you're capturing customer rating, you want to take action upon any poor ratings that you receive. We can create an automation through the Cset submitted rule option here to detect any positive and or negative cases. This rule is something that I highly recommend all customers to create. This is a similar automation that our support team uses to help our customers today. If we receive a very poor rating or a negative feedback on a case, we obviously want to switch the experience around. To be able to help the agents detect those type of cases, we can create a Cset submitted rule to detect negative feedback and categorizing the cases appropriately, such as adding the case label called negative feedback. Sending out a notification email as well so that your team is aware of the feedback that you receive, the email content information, and the customer information as well. But beyond that, We're also adding an internal note, internal comment to alert the team that they need to follow up with this customer and then they need to take an action to change the experience around and wow the customer. So this rule will ensure that whenever a case rating is related to poor, or because it's in an any statement, is related to fair, we're going to automatically perform these three actions and making sure that they are followed up on the case. Now, when the customer switches the rating, this automation will trigger. We will change the feedback label to positive feedback. This ensures that, hey, I followed up with the customer on this negative feedback case that I received. I was able to change their experience around and the label got switched over to positive feedback. So I know that I highlighted these rule actions and rule types on a very high level. I really wanted to show you what is possible within the Desk system so that if you're starting to think about like automations that will help your team, take a look into the rule types available, whether if you want to create a rule upon case open, whenever agent opens the case for the first time. If you have these creative ideas around, if the agent resolves a case, I want certain actions to happen. Take a look into these sections here, but I'm also going to show you a couple other resources available that will help your team to be able to get a better understanding of the automations, rule conditions, rule actions available with the system. One more thing before I switch over and ask questions and answer questions, I want to talk about macros. Macros, as mentioned, are the pre-built workflows and templates that you can create. So if I click on the refund process, macros will allow you to perform multiple actions with a single click. When I say multiple actions, as an administrator, I can define the action that you want to create upon a single macro. So when I click on the refund macro, these are the actions that the system will perform. We're going to set the status to pending. We're going to make sure that the email case, any case, is assigned to sales operation. Assigned user is the active users that working on the case. This quick reply option will automatically populate the response. But notice how it says hi customer.name. So this is what's called a liquid variable. So we can use liquid to extract data that exists within the system. So by using the liquid variable customer.name, we're telling the system to automatically extract the customer name of the active case that you're working on. We can also append different articles. We can set the issue type. We can select the category. But what's important, and this is a pretty important feature, is we can create a permission level. If you create, let's say, 100 macros and you have all these different business units that are working in Desk, if you don't create some sort of permission level, all agents for all business units will be able to see all the macros created on the site, creating a messy experience for your team. We can create a permission level to ensure that if this refund process needs to be shown only for the sales operations team that's handling the refund case, we can create that permission level so that the technical support team won't see the macro, the product team won't see the macro. We are creating an experience where only the right team members will be able to see the right macros created on the site. Okay, so I can create a permission level here. With that, I'm going to switch gears and go back into my PowerPoint slide here. We're going to talk about a couple other resources available. We have Trailhead. So if you're not familiar with the Trailhead, this is a sort of a new online learning experience that we provide to the customers. If you want to learn more about the Trailhead experience, you can reach out to our support team as well. So we provide information around Desk.com basics information, any toolkits. We have training resources available for your team through our support center, support@desk.com. We also have our awesome WOW team here. This is our famous picture slide here. You can contact us through email or give us a call. All these automations that we talked about, all these macro features, our support teams can provide guidance. Our support teams are the product experts. So if you share your idea and say, hey, Desk.com support team, here are the automations that I want to create, but I'm not too sure the appropriate steps that I need to take. So if you give us a call, we can walk through the steps and say, hey, Juliana, or hey, Sarah, hey, John, thanks for calling in. Here are the appropriate steps. Let's tackle this together. So if you have ideas, but you're not too sure how to visualize this setup in your admin console, give us a call, send us an email. We'll be able to provide you with the step-by-step guidance on how to set that up. Okay. And with that, we're going to open up any questions that you have within the question section here. If you have any questions, feel free to chat within the question section here. Okay. I see that there are a couple questions here. Okay, I'm gonna read through a couple of them here. One question, a very great question, was, is CSAT rule and Salesforce integration only for pro users? That's a very great question. And that is correct. The customer satisfaction feature and the Desk Connect integration, the bidirectional Salesforcing that we talked about, is available within Professional Edition and above. So we have 3 different editions that we offer. We have the standard plan, professional plan, we have the business plus plan. So in order to set up that customer satisfaction feature and go through the Desk Connect bidirectional, which is the Salesforce integration piece, you would need to be a professional edition customer and or above. Okay. Another question is, I've used macros before. How do I set it up to include the client's name automatically? So if we go back into the macro, if you recall, we use liquid variable, which is customer.name. If you use liquid variable, we can automatically extract the customer's name, customer data information into the macro. And what's great about it is if you go into our support site, which is support.desk.com, type in search for the article macro liquid variable. We're going to show you all the liquid variables that are compatible within our macro feature, giving you an idea. If you want to auto-populate the customer's name, we'll give you the appropriate liquid variable that should be used within your macros section here. Okay. Another question, is there a library of best practice automations anywhere? It will be helpful to see similar experiences to the one reviewed during the webinar. The very, very great question. So not a lot of our customers know that this is available, and it is available for our customers today. If you go into our support centers, just type in best practice, we'll be able to show you articles around it. But if you log into your admin console for the first time, you're going to be able to see a dashboard tab. Within the dashboard tab screen, you're going to see an option or a box called mini workflows. Mini workflows are best practice articles that you can locate. And these articles have been created by my team, which is the solution consulting team here. If you want to take a look into the VIP workflow, how to set up that time rule to detect aging cases, we will have already created knowledge-based articles to help our customers setting up those types of automations for your team. Okay. We have time for a couple more questions here. Okay. Let's see. One question is, can you create a rule where a searching agent gets all emails related to an account connected to Salesforce? The answer is yes. So if you kind of visualize this experience, if that account record exists only in the Desk system, there is a way to create a process where, let's say, if you have an account manager that handles emails from 15 accounts, we can ensure that by using one automation, all of those emails from that account are assigned to AK, the account manager that should be handling. So it will require a combination of custom fields. You can create automations based on the exact company name as well. So there is a way, if an account manager or support rep should be handling cases only from a specific account, we can use inbound interaction rules to create that routing process for your agent. Okay. One more question that I'm going to answer, and is, one question I got is, how is the support center integrated into existing forms on the website? So that's a great question. You have a main site today, which could be your companyname.com. And you already have some sort of a contact form that you're using today, but it's not through Desk. It's just sending an email to your Gmail box, inbox, or Outlook. So I can share a couple customer examples here, but if we go into, let's say, sorry, we're not going to exit the webinar. We're going to just exit the slide. We're going to show you one customer example, and that is Shake Shack. Shake Shack is one of the customers that I got the privilege to work with to help their setup. So if you're not aware of Shake Shack, they're one of the largest burger joints in the country. So Shake Shack uses Desk to help customers today. So when I'm on the Shake Shack's main site here and click on the Contact Us section here, this is the contact form where customers can fill out their question. Notice how this contact form is sort of like an inline view to the main site that they have. This contact form is powered by Desk.com, where when you fill out this general inquiry form, it's going to generate an email case in the Desk system. We're going to ensure that these emails are assigned to the appropriate team members that are using the Desk system. If it's related to donations, you can fill out this request. The donation form here is also powered by Desk.com. So if you're kind of visualizing, hey, okay, you have an email form that comes out of the system. How do I add that onto my main site? Is that possible? And the answer is yes. There are ways to add the form directly on your site. One customer and great example is our awesome customer, Shake Shack. Okay. With that, thanks again, everyone, for joining our webinar today. If you have any questions, you can reach out to our support team. Sorry, let me go ahead and switch over to the resources side here. You can reach out to our support team. We have webinars also available. We're going to share the recording to everyone who have joined the call today. But also take a look into our support site, support.desk.com, and we'll be able to provide you with best practice articles, setup articles, any articles related to all the features available within the Desk system, whether agent or admin experience. You can use that as a best resource there. With that, thanks again for joining our call today, and have a great rest of your day and rest of your week.